So just making some adjustments here to this very unimportant thing, which is the title. But and baby's going to sleep right now, so we're gonna have some cries in the background. Mhm. Yep. All right. So this is what it is. RigBuilder QTUI Python face rigging, and this is what we're working on. So I assume we're live in YouTube right now, and also on Facebook. So bam, RigBuilder QTUI Python face rigging. This is what we're working. Welcome to another stream here of me working. That's all. And today we are going to be working on this development of the UI. So this is what we have right now. This is the tree, and this is being executed. So pretty straightforward right now. We already have it working. Fortunately, I will probably be talking more about it, like just providing more information on how to do it. This tree using the Qt tree with Qt class package with Python. It's basically structuring what's going to be our rig builder UI, right? And we are going to then today be solving a few problems and making this a functional tool that we're going to then be able to uh, rebuild rigs. And right now it is already working to some extent. So it is zeroing out the scene. So we can actually just test by adding. Let me get back into the work camera here. Just a second. All right, so let me increase the size of the font here. So we're going all the way to 20 so that everybody can watch it. And now we can see here the UI script. And here we have the functions that are being then registered, right? So the main idea here is that we have a class with a bunch of functions inside of it, or a bunch of methods inside of it. And then what we are then going to be able to do is to register this using the register build method, and that this registered method will then appear inside of our rig builder UI. So uh, just to check the functionality here, we're then just going to add like a sphere. So one of the modules that we have here is like create scene. This is working. Setup rig groups. This is being done as well. Import template. So let's work with this import template because it's just blank basically. And inside of this one here, I'm gonna call like mc.polysphere. And just for the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna name it like stream test sphere, right? Which is a geo, which is a completely overshot. Uh, Not necessary to call it such a gigantic name, but I think it's just interesting that we make sure that this is exactly the same thing that we've been registering inside of the class. So uh, I'm going to reload this class, call the UI again, and here, as I said, we have the import template function, and if we run this, yeah, we got the polysphere there, and look at that, the name Stream Test Sphere Geo. Wow, ah, it's absolutely boring at this point. But it means that there's a bright future ahead of us because we do have a rig that we want to replicate. We want that rig to be able to be replicated, and this is what we're going to start working. So one thing that we can see right now is once we double click it, it does run everything, zeroes out the scene, so basically creates a new scene and starts everything from scratch, which is what we want. The main the output here would be, or the final objective would be to just have all this the data stored inside of the project, and then the rig builder is going to get everything, bring everything to the scene, so that every time that you run the rig builder, you're going to get the same result, compared to, for example, on a project that I did for an Instagram virtual model, which I believe I can talk about it right now at this point. So it's called Binksy. You can check it out on Instagram. And Binksy is a uh, face rig that I did. So what happened during this project is I did this mostly manually, meaning that I had a few scripts that I have for the eyelids, I had for the mouth as well, and what happened is I started rigging it, so I had a schedule. I said, okay, so first is going to be the neck, then the eyes, and then we're going to, so the head, we're going to go for the eyes and the eyelids, and then the mouth, and then we're going to start to sculpt blend shapes. But what happens at the end then is that uh, you have this one of a kind rig that you cannot replicate. If the client, and it did happen that the client had a UV map change, and then we were on that doomsday situation where you say, okay, so this is going to be very hard to change. We all agreed that that was the case, that that was the final UVs or the final mesh, and now there's a change. But turns out this is always happening in production. This is just a standard, it's a pattern, and it's not something that you should be. It's something that you should be accounting for, right? If you're working in a production environment, that's why you have rig builders, because you're going to build it once, you're going to adjust, and then changes are going to come. Hopefully, UV maps and or at least the topology of the mesh is not going to change, because otherwise you're going to lose the skinning as well. But maybe UVs change, textures change, and you need to update it all. So that's why I need a rig builder. And let's get back into it. Here I am on the bottom. And yeah, welcome everyone. And whatever questions you have, I'll try to answer it as best as possible. So let's go back here. So let me type down then what's the next steps here, just so that we can keep. This is I was actually writing like the ideas of what I always try to keep some sort of log of what's going on. Sometimes I can work on the next day, sometimes I cannot work right on the next day, and it's always when you try to pick up the problem, it's always going to take time. And also one of the reasons why I work live, because then I can focus on the problem and not be watching YouTube. And so let's go. So it's going to be development, develop, development list. So first is going to be stop UI. Hello, Hotrod. Welcome. Stop UI from refreshing. Double click. And then I'll keep watching here. what's the next? So I also have to uh, check for check. Check if check is true in order to run, right? Because what I want here is to, if this thing is not checked, then I want this not to run the function, right? And also I need to add a stop. So add a stop marker slash button, meaning that uh, allow the user to mark one of the functions with the stop, so that the build stops at that point. Meaning that we should have like a button here that we're gonna add, like click. It's going to add like a red marker here, and we can then run the entire thing, and it's going to stop on that function. Because we are then, if we need to debug something, we need to be able. Sometimes we're gonna have like a gigantic function or a gigantic build that you know that there's a problem somewhere, so you need to be able to run the function and stop at some point. So and also sometimes you have too many methods here. You're not going to be like unchecking all of them. You just add a stop to one of them, and then the function, the RigBuilder will stop before that, and then you're going to just execute the things that are above. I'm just going to say hello here to go through 999 in YouTube chat. And yeah, let's proceed. Okay, so another point here that I have would be to, yeah, so then we're gonna start oh yeah, we have to also implement this buildable and the project or asset. Yeah, so I'm using a few references that I have in my mind of like brick builders that are working, that I've seen working, and that would be, so the idea here is that, oh no, I'm hey Hutrude, this is I'm using Restream, so I'm basically sending to all of the channels. So, or at this point is only YouTube and Facebook, but I'm trying to get into Twitch again and work more there. Seems like a good place for streaming this kind of content. But yeah, feel free to interact. Um, Thanks for the great stuff. All right, so let's keep pushing here. So the thing is, we have the buildable, and we also have, so the buildable. Then right now it is not being uh, inherited by the TP rig here. So as we say on how inheritance works is, this buildable here is responsible for registering the build methods, which is picked up then by the RigBuilder UI. And the RigBuilder UI could be building anything technically. So What we want is to separate the pieces that are will be applied to more than one type of class, meaning you could have a rig, but you can also have another type of asset. I don't know, nothing comes to mind now, but you can apply for different buildable things. And then this is when with the TP rig will then be inherited by, say, a FaceRig or a biped rig or a quadruped rig or anything on those lines. So the rig then has to have basic things related to the rig, such as setting up the group structure, setting up the basic module, or like having the class responsible for importing controls or things that all rigs will have necessarily. This will be found in the TP rig. And by TP, I don't even know why I put that in. It doesn't matter. It's just for me to watch my initials on my code, which nobody else is watching. So it's also something for the future. I don't know if I put it out there, but not necessary. It's not really necessary. So yeah, I'll continue then. You know what? I'm just gonna do it, and I'll start actually moving. So I don't know about this project thing. This is inheriting because one of the ideas here. I'll just write this project and let's see where we get with it. So on the init of the project, I would like to have something like it's not even init, but the functions here or the methods of the project. I would like to have a check uh, folder check project folder structure, and that would then be able to. But this is also too broad, right? Because we could split this in smaller steps. So instead of have like check project folder structure, which is a little broad, I'm gonna have to check many things, and I don't know what's gonna be checked in the future. Meaning that ideally is like check the project data folder or director. There, let's say there. It's good enough. And then check project geodir. So I'm breaking it down into very small steps that we can. So then what we do next is inside of the init, because we have the buildable being being inherited there, we can then do register build method, and that then we can see there on the help that we have here that it is first action name, parent action, method name, the method that it's going to be, and if it's going to be after any of the other methods that already are registered. So I would say this action would be called then check. What we can have also is like a check project structure, or check project structure. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna keep going with it, and then if the important thing is to get stuff done at this point, and that's a good thing about streaming because you don't think too much. Sometimes I just spend too much time thinking, and so it's parent action. So there's no parent action in this case, or there is this root or FaceRig in this case. It's still FaceRig. This is also something that needs to be changed. So the parent action is FaceRig, and then there's no buildable method, and it's not after anything. So the reason why there's a check project structure is because right now then I'm going to do a self dot register, and then I'm going to do. Then I'm going to start adding the actual method. So this is going to behave as a parent build build method. So to be check project data data sorry directory. It's okay. And then the parent method is going to be check project structure. And if it starts to get too big, you just break the line after the comma and you keep going. So method. In this case, we do have a method. So it's going to be method and it's going to be check yourself dot check data. And one thing that is important is when you if you pass in a method or a function as an argument, and this is something that took me some time to find out. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, this is good information. Uh, when you have when you're passing a method or a function into anything, storing that, if you store it with the open and close bracket, it is going to execute right when you call it. So whenever the code is the com- computer is reading the code, and right when it sees the self, say this in this case self dot check project data, it sees the open and close bracket. It's going to execute that. So even though it is a method, you can leave it without the open and close bracket, and then how the way it's going to be executing it on the other side, in this case here, what's going to be stored is the object, right? So it's just a, a place, a pointer to a place in the memory where this object is stored. But then after that, on the UI here, we are then executing this by calling it somewhere around here. So this method is then being stored inside of the dictionary, and then just by calling the dictionary and the key, it's going to return you that object, and then you can just execute it by adding open and close bracket, right? And that's the best way that I found to do it. I don't know if there's a better way. This is how I know, uh, but I do find it's the mostly the way that there is. and and then there's no after, so this is mostly it. So I don't know if this class should be called project. I have another class that's called project manager. I don't know if I'm going to merge them, but this is just an example. So register build method, and then I'm just going to add like the other one. So it's going to be check project geodir. And this can probably can be abbreviated in the sense that maybe I don't need to do check project geodir directory, because it is going to be inside of check project structure. So by default, you might be able to identify that that's what we're talking about, like the folders in the directory. So I might change that, but again, I'll just keep moving, and if we can change something soon, we will. So project structure. This is the parent, and then the method stuff dot check project. There again, take off the open and close bracket, and we have this project, which is a buildable. It's a part of the buildable. I don't like too much this naming though. just project. It doesn't say much to us, right? So it should be something like a project manager, project checker, project. I'd say project manager. I don't like that name too much as well, but I'm just gonna call it now. Manager, project manager. Yeah, do I have heard? Just call it project right now. I'll figure it out later. And here we're gonna add the project. So project, and also this is going to be on another folder later on. So I am not. Yeah, this is going to have to change a lot, right? So here I'm going to then add the super, and then I'm going to add the TP, or sorry, the project, and then self, and then init. Uh, if you can, so Hotrude 999 and on YouTube is asking, but is that so? He's saying if this is a good question, uh, and if this code could be reproduced inside 3D Max, I believe so. Maybe not the the parts that we are calling the Maya function. So anything that it's MC dot parent, for example. Here it's dot parent, but like MC dot group, anything MC related, probably not gonna. Probably not. Most certainly is not going to work inside of 3D Max, but you can use PySide Qt inside of 3D Max. I'm pretty sure about that. Beto Maro is on Facebook saying hi. Hello. Say a quick hi here. Hello, Beto. Let's go to the question. Go to. All right, so let's keep moving. All right, so right now we already have that. So we basically you can see that PyCharm is then overriding the build. So it's being over. Yeah, this method here is overriding the one on the buildable, which is this one, which is exactly the same. We just copied it because this should be on the buildable, not inside the rig. So what you see right now then is that this is going to be added first into our uh, rigor RigBuilder UI. So right now, what's going to happen is you're probably going to have the functions that we. So we're going to have project checker or whatever. What did I call it? Check project structure. We're going to have that with an arrow and the functions inside of it. Let's see if I'm correct or if I'm going nuts right now. So I'm reloading it, calling it, and nothing, nothing. Why? Okay. Hmm. So it is registering, but okay, so that's a good thing. We are importing the buildable. Must be making something wrong here. FaceRig root, create new scene. FaceRig, port geo. Gonna make it. Gonna make it. Where is it? Yeah, so that's the thing about development. We keep banging our heads on the wall, and eventually you get something. Oh, uh, what is this? What is this? I think I'm redeclaring. Yeah, that's definitely that. I'm redeclaring the attribute here, and that is probably overriding whatever I have added on the previously. So it's build methods list. This should be a method of buildable, and I'm just going to comment out this thing from this one, and I'm also going to comment out this thing because this is useless. And now I am going to run it again, and it should pop up there magically. And oh man, okay, I'm gonna find it. So it is reloading. What's going on? Oh, for some reason, I had two times that. That gotta be it, right? Gotta be the reason why. All right, so let's go again. And oh man, why? I have a third one. Build methods list. The methods are being registered. These methods are being registered. Pass, pass. We have the functions. Use an object. It's written the correct way. So I'm just trying to break down the problem here. Uh, is subclassed by TP, is overridden by TP rig. So it shouldn't be overridden though. Am I? So I'm constantly having to like just double check the replace template. I'm gonna check like for all of the parent. It's fine. Yeah, so let me go back at the FaceRig, the period manager. Yeah, here we go. So we have the class buildable. I'm going us again through it, trying to understand like why is it that oh I think I got it. This is project. Yeah, this is what's wrong here. I'm calling the wrong thing here on the init. It's probably gonna go so buildable is not necessary. It's not does not have a super. So the super, what it does, it's going to append this, uh, it append whatever is in the side of the init into this init here. So inside of this init, we have this. So basically, what this function is saying is like it's inheriting the this class here, and the super here is appending this methods here to the end of this ones here. So basically it's adding that underneath that and so on and so forth. TP-Rig is going to do the same thing. So let's see if now that fixes the problem. I'm going to reload it. Oh, okay. Yeah, and I see why. So now we're making progress because it's breaking for a reason, right? So this one here should be the very first item. Uh, so let's just, for the sake of testing, let's add this because this gotta be the very first item. The only problem that I have with because this we're calling this face rig here, and not necessarily all the time is going to be face rig. This is probably going to have to be a variable because it could be anything else, such as body rig or anything like this. But I believe that if we do this, maybe it's going to come back. Yeah, FaceRig and oh, yeah, we got it. Yeah, we got it. So here it is. It's check project structure, check project data dir, check project geodir, right? So by that, what I mean is if we go here and set project, uh, let's say this is the project that I've been working the most lately. So it's the Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker project. And if we then, oh, if we then click open, we're gonna have the scenes folder here, right? But this is the project. So inside of the project, we have like assets, autosave, cache, data, and this shouldn't be here. I don't know what is this. This is something wrong. Uh, by the way, big props to hey, thanks. And this is a big props to Chin Kai Yang, which is the modeler of the Riga project. Great guy. So you have here the data for the skin clusters, for example. So just recapping what, for example, for skin clusters or for the data folder here would be this data folder. So what this function is gonna do is just check if this folder exists. uh, Data folder is a standard, is a Maya standard, so it's just gonna come in and check if there's like we're probably gonna have like skin clusters and other data packs that are related to vertex positions for placement of the muscle joints, and that is it. So this is the idea. The important thing is we're getting the UI working now. We are inheriting from the buildable class. And if we execute this, so say for example, let's delete everything so that you can see whenever you execute this, it's going to create the folders here and our sphere that was registered before. All right, so boo. How's it going? Sorry. Oh my God, what's this baby? So I have a daughter, right? And I think that dealing with my daughter is making me extra silly. And back to the development. And let's go here with the so Phoenix Studios. Hey, welcome back, man. Uh, on YouTube. Hey man, which version of Python are you using? I believe it's 2.7. So Python and Maya, the new Maya, the 2022, I believe, or 21, it already has, I believe it's the Python 3, and that has a few improvements. Right now, although PyCharm is able to run the Python 3, it is using the I'm working on things that are Python 2.7. To be honest, I have to check out more information about Python 3 and what are the advantages that we have. But mostly for the basic stuff, which is what we're like, we're mostly dealing with standard things like classes and dictionaries. And the only disadvantage of the 2.7, or at least the 2.7 side of Maya, is that it doesn't hold the order of items that you add into the dictionary. This is very frustrating because you basically have to uh, use other ways around that. So use a list and then dictionaries inside of a list, just because the list holds the order. So if you call the list on position 1, index 1, you're always going to get the same thing, right? So this is what it is. So uh, how you download Python, how you download 2.7 Python and PyCharm, are not really ready for this question, but I believe I gotta say it's on the you have the packages here, like install package. There's another comment here from Chai Rig. Let me go through this first. So I don't remember honestly. It's you gotta go to the like install packages. It's probably like settings, but editor or file type plugins or something like that. No, it's around here. I cannot go into detail here. I would just check out like Python, you know, just a very standard like Python install Python. Then you're gonna see here that it is. Oh man, it's not objective. Ah, I don't want to give up. It's so simple. I just don't remember, man. Yeah, settings, preferences, interpreter settings, right? So we will close interpreter. Dude, you please check this out. I'll give you a friendly task. You help me out with this. You find out your interpreter settings here, and that's what uh, it's so close. It's here somewhere, but you're gonna find it. I have 100% of certainty that you are going to get this sorted. So yeah, so you just go there into the interpreter, install that, and that's it. There's plenty of tutorials and YouTube, and my focus here is to get this rig builder going, and that's where we're going right now. So Chai Rig asks, "Hi, will this stream video be uploaded later?" Yes, right away. When it's done, it's online. That's why I do it live, because if I have to edit something, it's just not going to happen. So it's just straight to YouTube. Feel free to come back or yeah, or stay. Okay, so let me think of the next things that we have to do then. So first of all, let's try to do the check for the Qt, so that before it executes, so we have this, and then what I'm going to do is before as yeah, no worries, Chachai. Happy to see you around. So before it executes, I want it to check if the Qt is checked. So I'm gonna do this Qt3 oh, widget item, and we are now going to start checking out some documentation. Wow. So I believe it's going to be something like is checked, is disabled, is hey Phoenix Studios, what do you mean this codes? Which code are you talking about? Is so I'm checking out here. I believe it is disabled. Returns true if the item is disabled. Otherwise returns false. So I believe that's this, but let's just double check here. If we cannot find the not. So what I want now, as I was saying, what I'm looking, the information that I'm looking after is that I want like to be able to disable this or to uncheck it. And if it's unchecked, it is not going to go it's not going to execute this particular item, right? So Phoenix Studio is asking how you get this codes. This is something that I'm writing from scratch. No copying from anyone on this one, right from the beginning. And that's I don't know if this is disabled. Is the one, or it could be CheckState. Returns the CheckState, set CheckState, set CheckState. Let's see if that's what we're looking after here. So what we're again we're looking to check, yeah. So we have here CheckState. That's exactly what we're looking for. We can do like set CheckState. So we create the item here, and then we set the item to have the CheckState, and the CheckState is then checked, right? So and then we're just storing this information. So it's indeed the CheckState. So what I want is to be able to query the CheckState. So this is the one. Return the CheckState of no. CheckState, set CheckState. So it's going to return unchecked 0, partially checked 1, and checked 2. It's going to be I hope it's going to be a simple one. So we have the item. So we have the item, and we can do like item dot check state. Just double check here and check the check state of the checker, and that is set check state, item check state. I believe that's it. So check state, yeah, it is lowercase, so check state, and also check state is returning something, so we need to have like a check state, and then our let's abbreviate this instead of having because I don't need the necessarily the value. So I'm gonna do go straight into an if. So if check state equals 2, I believe, which is what it's getting there. It's going to execute. So if it's checked, it's going to execute. This is a lot of ifs, though. I don't know if I want this amount of ifs. If item is checked, execute. This is a lot of ifs because when you start to, the thing is, then you need to start thinking of readability, and like if you have a loop and then you have an if, and then you have an if inside of an if, it just begins to be very hard to figure out the logic, and this is something that we don't want, because I want to be able to eat. Like we're probably going to be like coming back to this rig builder later on, and in order for you to quickly figure out what's going on, it has to be very straightforward, right? So our sphere there is being created in the, just I believe I just added like a dummy sphere here on the import templates, and so I can turn off the import templates here, and if it doesn't come up, we know that it worked, but it's crashing. So there's that, exactly on the if check state. Arguments, do you? Oh, column? What do you mean column? Zero? I guess it's column zero. Let's see. Well, yeah, definitely it's column zero. All right, how's it going? How are you right now? Are you still here checking this code thing? Not very dynamic, kind of. It's just how it is. Coding is quite monotonous, and it's a problem-solving thing that you gotta be checking the code, checking back on the documentation, checking back on the code. The reason why is a good idea to do that, because when you're coding and when you're creating such a thing as a rig builder, you're creating the means for basically you don't need to be there for that to be executed. If I was, for example, sculpting the blend shapes, and by no means this is a thing that I love doing, sculpting blend shapes, but when you're creating something that is a one of a kind, that's what it is. It stops there. And with the code, it allows you to basically you work faster with the code, and you allow other people to do the same thing. So that's the thing to have in mind. Right. Moving on. Yeah, Hotrud is saying ifception. Yeah, I agree. I don't like ifceptions. You choose who chewed and chose environment art. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I have uh, I have tried doing some environment art before, and it's a pretty amazing topic, which I wish I could dig deeper. And right, where have I stopped? So I've added the check state, and that should actually allow us now to test it again. So on the import templates, what, what, what? Oh, it did work. It worked. So yeah, but every time I'm clicking check state, wow, it is working. But what? Hmm. Else if item check state zero. Mhm. If there's if there's children, it's checking the amount of children. It's getting the child item. It's getting the child item dot child index. It's getting the child object. Child name is child, then text 0. Child data equals get method data child name. So this is giving us the data, child data method, if there is a method, and this is not item, this is child. So right away I can tell you that this is probably gonna work. All right, so let's test that. All right, so we now move this, run again, and boom. All right, I'm making some progress here. So now we have a thing that we can turn off something. So say for example, we don't want the to set up rig groups, and the rig groups are not coming up. So if we check in these two guys and we run it again, the rig groups are coming in and the sphere is also in place. So yeah, thanks, Richard. Richard, I appreciate the company as well. Talking to someone while coding, and it's a good experience. Appreciate for stopping by. All right, so we have that working, and it is a bit of inception here, ifception, uh, but it's fine. It's not too bad. It's a simple check, and we have documented it. And yeah, let's see what else do we have here. So that is good. Now, why is it that every time I double click, it closes, right? So that's something that we're gonna have to ask Google. Qt3 widget. Pre-collapsing when double click. Why is that? How do I check if my so Phoenix Studios is asking if how do I check if my code is right or wrong? I mean, I can almost right away tell you that code is. I have had a lot of wrong code, and the way to do it is I do the best I can, and then I use it. If it works, it's a good code. But usually it can always improve. You're always learning, and you're always adding stuff. So basically, I mean, I'm doing the best I can with the information that I have, and I'm using classes. I'm trying to use classes in the most organized possible way. But I cannot 100% assure. Like I'm using PEP 8, for example. It's a good way to know if the code is well written. So meaning PEP, you can check online. So like I would suggest PEP 8 for Python, right? This is the style guide for Python. This is how you should technically you should write Python, and PyCharm is based on PEP 8, which is this basically consensus about how what's the right way of writing Python. So every time that you are in PyCharm, oh sorry, I'm showing my face instead of the. Also, give me 1 second so that I can turn a little bit of my. Oh, here we go. All right, I'm brighter now. Hey, so yeah, PEP 8. So basically, things like this, it is accusing whatever is written wrong. So, for example, the class here, it has to be written with a camel case, and the first letter must be also a uppercase letter. For the methods, it needs to be all underscored and no uppercase letters. So if I put like an uppercase here, it's going to complain. Look at that. It's going to say function name should be lowercase. According to who? You ask. Pep8. That's who it is. So that's how I know. It's the way I know. But it can always be better. I'm here studying. I'm not. That's why I'm working here. So there's a lot to learn. All right. So yeah, I was trying to figure out why is it collapsing. So how to disable expanding and collapsing when no. Double click on the Qt view expand it item arrow. How to disable expanding and collapsing by mouse double click in Qt view. When I double click and it seems like event filter can solve the problem. Check expand. But that doesn't make sense, right? Let's see. This is an item. I mean, Qt3 widget. Now I have to also check the. So again, we're trying to. As boring as it is, we are troubleshooting something. Uh, view. What's the name? Qt3 view. It's not widget. It's 3 view. So this is a part. So the Qt3 view is the class that is related to the way that you see the tree. So it's responsible for the visual part of the class. So whatever you see here, I think you can edit that using the Qt3 view. If you're editing the tree itself or the like general items, it's going to be the Qt3 widget. If you're editing the item, it's going to be Qt3 widget item. Qt is it's just the way that we create this UI. It's responsible for it's a class or it's a package that you can use to create UIs. You also have UI designer, very similar to the front page or Dreamweaver, for that matter. And I still haven't touched it. Like the UI designer. I know it's it's powerful. Uh, Probably going to be more useful if you're creating a more complex UI that has more stuff involved, like I don't know, tabs and many different items. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm just creating these widgets, and it's just one widget here and one title. So there's no reason why we would need to use a designer here. But if you have like a more complex interface, you're probably going to be using that, and that's going to be talking directly to the Qt, the Python Qt, and yeah, that's the advantage. Hope that's useful information. Right. So I'm probably, let me see, we are live for about 1 hour right now. Hutrude says that I've heard that 3D Max UI is being converted to Qt little by little every release, and it's so light. Yeah, it's great, and it's cross-platform. So one of the advantages of Qt is that you can use it for Maya, but you can also use it for I don't know Nuke. You can also use it for 3D Max, and there are courses that I've seen that will help you to uh, do it cross-platform. So I'm talking right now, just talking. So I'm gonna talk to you. All right, so back. All right, so back into the idea here. I just wanted to check. Yeah, I'm back into the check. Sorry, guys. I need to focus on the issue in hands here. Yeah, item expandable. We already can see that it has the Q3 view class already. I can see that it has some information about it. Item expandable. You gotta be expandable. Is expanded. Yeah. So the worst case scenario, I would say, auto expand. Why would you have an auto expand? Expands on double click. Not really. Why would I want that? Indentation, column hidden, sorting enable, items expandable, expand, set expanded, set expands on double click. Okay, we're close. I think it's somewhere around here. Set items expandable, set form, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so set expands on double click. Let's check what's there. So the property holds whether the item can be expanded by double clicking. This property holds whether the user can expand and collapse items by double clicking. The default value is true. So that's what's happened. Well, right away we found what's the issue. The issue is that this freaking thing. So how do we use them? And how do I pass this information to these guys? So yeah, this guy gave so it's talking about the Qt3 view. Let's see if we have something on this documentation. Yeah, it's just pointing us. But I mean, the thing then is like, what is it expecting? How do we use this? Oh, here we go. Okay, seems not that bad. So let's see. We should be able to then do like the init. Here we go. So we're doing the builder label, and then we have the Qt3 widget, and we're setting the header, right? So before starting with anything else, I'll just do like self dot tree view, yes, view, and then it's going to be Q3 Qt view, and then what it's requesting is the self dot tree widget, and then we're going to go with self dot tree view dot. Sorry, and you can see that we already have all the things that we can see there. So it's going to be what was it that we were checking? Set expands on double click. Set expands on double click, and that should be that should be false, right? Default is true. That should be false. All right. Is it that easy? We just solve it. Let's see. Oh, Why? Yeah, damn. What is this now? Yeah, okay. It's a, so now again proceeding into finding the issue. Next thing we test the first possible thing that the set expands on double click is the one causing the problem. So you're gonna see, is it the case that just by calling the Qt3 view it is screwing up? Yes, it is the case. So it's not the set expander. I don't even know what's going on here. Okay, so this is not our problem. It's probably man. Okay, so Qt3 view black box. Is it something? The black box gets dropped. Oh man, seriously, why? Okay, black box in first call. It doesn't make sense to me. It's definitely underneath it, but then all of a sudden there's a black box in front of it. Okay, let's check first let's check on the methods here. I'll expand delay, big header, indentation, is animated in column X, is expanded, first column expand, is header hidden, store enable, the set indentation, decoration, animated, auto expand delay. What's the difference then, like just on the expand on double click? This property holds whether the item can be expanded on double click. So this is the item. This property holds whether the user can expand and collapse items, but by double clicking. So this is the same, but why do you have a set then? Oh god. This property, so items expandable. This property holds whether the items are expandable by the user. This property holds whether the user can expand and collapse items interactively. Okay, makes sense. So it's a different thing. I just don't get why we have a black box. Ah man, it's kind of issue that just takes time and it doesn't add anything to the process. So let's see here. What if you comment this out? Is the problem the actual thing, or have I done something else? Is it something? It's like is it a different problem by any chance? It's not. It's that. No. Ah man. So I go. Okay. But we do need to have what happens then if we don't have the widget? Is it going to complain? Is it going to do what? Apply to every single Qt3 around? Not complaining, but it's also not working. Okay, so it does have to be that. So it's probably just uh, changing something. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for this problem for another minute and then I'm moving on. Okay, I cannot just be, unfortunately, I cannot dedicate time to this thing if it doesn't matter, right? doesn't matter because right now, like literally, it's running, it's working. So I can invest more time. I can better invest my time on actually working on the methods and the things that are going to build the rig and figure out like this static aesthetic problem later, right? So if I then, as I'm checking it right now, I guess I'm making the wrong question to, like, I'm asking the wrong thing to Google. So I'll do like a Qt view. What's the question here? Pre over header overlapping viewport, Qt3 class, Qt2 class, updating Qt3 view with new data. And it's the same guy. Jeez. All right. I'm gonna use my time more wisely. So it's okay. I'm gonna figure this out. Maybe the next stream. All right. So we have this. So let's think about the next thing. So refreshing when stop your from refreshing. So I'm just gonna add a note here saying that okay, I found the issue is on the Qt3 view and it is on the set expandable. Where is it? Set expands on double click. Where is it? I'm just going to take note. So it's going to be Qt3 view dot set expands on double clicks expands. Creating also creating a black box in front of three. Okay. Ah, Rotrude, you're Brazilian. Boa noite, meu amigo. Vai descansar. Yeah. Muito bem. Thanks for stopping by. I just skipped the English for everybody, but good to see that there's some Brazilian friends around. Whenever you want, just hit back. Falou, boa noite, parceiro. I'm also going pretty soon. So Huchu is saying that he's leaving. So thanks for stopping by for this amount of time. All right, so I think that we made some progress today. I wish we could just start building some stuff at this point. It was registered here. Calling the TP function. Register build get register build methods. That's fine. So create new scene, import template, import geo, setup modules, setup rig groups, import skin clusters. Yeah, yeah. This is like this rocket's going to be a heavy lifting now to get started on like really important. So what I do have here, maybe it's a thing that we should. So I have two projects that I would like to rig, like to have the auto rigger working for. One of them is the Joker project. I think it's just clean up. No, I think it's this muzzle here. And I'm just going to show this pretty quickly. This is a pretty like a one that's pretty heavy. So this one, we already have yeah, we have everything set it up, and it's based on the skull, and this is going to be the basis for everything, right? So we have the spine in place, skull, the jaw, and I believe we have the spine as well somewhere around here. And we also have the one that's the rig that's working. So we have a rig in place as well. But I would like to have this automated so that we can call it a day with this rig. Like just fully build it and uh, yeah, no, it's not gonna work. But yeah, just fully build it and be able to either put it on the internet for downloading or even selling. I don't know if I'll sell this. I don't have a good plan for it as a product, but then with the rig builder done, we would then be able to run this rig and have it like building fully. So I'll come in here and just like boom, execute it anytime, and then we'll like build. If I need to change something, if I need to update it, maybe I find a new technique, or like even if I put it online for downloading or for selling, whatever the new features I develop, I can just roll it into the rig and give an updated version to the user. And also, there's another one that, let's see if I can find it. It's been a long time. Scene cuts face app. Cuts. What is this? Face app. Oh, oh, I see. This is the one that I was doing in real time. It's fine. Yeah, right now I'm just like doing some extra stuff. I'm actually about to leave in a few minutes, so uh, if I can show you this, great. If not, another time we're gonna make it. I think this is the one. This happened. Yeah, that's not it. Anyways, I'm gonna check where is it, and I'm gonna get back. Face blood shape base. Am I getting it? Am I getting it? I'm getting it. Yay! All right, all right, all right, all right. And and let's see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the project that I was working on. This is a face that I actually bought all the shape, all the blend shapes, and this is the thing that I would like to start working on next. And here it is. Oh boy, not possible to check it, but yeah, I don't have the textured version here. It was a test inside of like, so what I get here is a facial scan that is totally retopologized, and already, so we have the blend shapes in place. And let me see, where's the floor here? It's pretty close to floor, and it's really small. So I have to make it better in many different ways. Set up, but the blend shapes are pretty good. and there's a lot of the work done already. So that's where the rig builder will shine, because we'll then be able to just like import all those blend shapes and then apply the blend shapes to the rig, and import shaders, import the controls, import. So there's a lot to develop. Step by step, we're gonna get there. So we're getting close now to full. What is QT? uh, QT is this thing here. Can you see it? I believe I answered your question, Phoenix, uh, half an hour ago, but I can give you this link here, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna find a lot of great information here. I don't know if the link's gonna go out to YouTube, but I'm pretty sure you can just check the documentation on QT, and you're gonna learn a lot, right? So that's it, guys. So recapping what went on today, we were able to work on our rig builder and have the tree have multiple classes that we are inheriting from a buildable class, and then we are able to check and uncheck our functions here, methods, and they're just going to be executed if the check box is on, except for the root. But they're just going to be executed if the checkbox is on that items. Things that are still I still need to work on are the fact that when you double click, it closes, and then start actually working on the rigs. And by the rigs, I mean the functions that will build the rig. That's going to be another stage. So this is a pretty long project. If you have the patience, we will get there. All right. So wishing you guys a amazing rest of your night, and we'll talk on the next one. Have a good one. Peace. Boom.